Tobago, good morning. It is 6:16 a.m. Let me take this time to welcome you to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. I am your host, Lavia and Cupid, and indeed, as always, it is a pleasure to be seated here before you. Today is Wednesday, the 11th of February, 2026. Might not be that significant for us, but guess what? Barbados is heading to the polls. Yes, Bajans are heading to the polls this morning. Of course, we want to wish our Caribbean brothers and sisters a safe day, and as they all go out to exercise their civic duty, and we here at Tobago Updates Television will be paying attention to the developments and keeping you updated as scores over on their side come in later on. I want to thank you so much for choosing Sunrise and choosing Tobago Updates Television, making us your number one to wake you up each and every morning. What are you up to today? Are you already in the traffic? We don't have traffic. Are you already out and about, or are you going to be in the traffic closer to 8 a.m. this morning? Whatever are your plans, I do hope that you're having us in the background while you listen to the good conversations we have on the topics that are very much important right now. You know, Sunrise rather is that a morning show where we tackle hard-hitting current affairs. Yeah, this morning's conversation is going to be quite interesting. Again, thank you if you're viewing us via our social media handles, Flow, AMPLIA, or digital. Thank you so much for making us your number one choice. And with that, as per usual, I take you right into the morning brief, where we keep you updated with all things current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago is a wider entity, regionally and internationally. So starting off strongly this morning, the TTPS Tobago Division, in collaboration with the Agency for the Prevention of Drug Abuse and the Promotion of Rehabilitation, that's ADAP, recently visited Pembroke Anglican Primary School and Goodwood Methodist Primary School as part of Drug Awareness Week. The initiative, spearheaded by ACP Pierre and Senior Superintendent Kirk and supervised by ASP Bacchus, Inspector Sterling and Sergeant Jonas, featured interactive discussions with students on carnival safety, drug use and abuse, and the importance of making healthy life choices. Yeah, officers reassured students that the police are their friends and are always ready to help keep them safe. Students were also advised to call 211 or 999 if they are ever left home alone and feel afraid. ADAP representatives further engaged students on the dangers of alcohol, tobacco, and vaping, of course, vaping, while promoting healthy lifestyles and positive decision making. The collaboration reinforces ongoing efforts to create safer schools, informed youth, and stronger communities across the island. Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that they touched on that topic of vaping. We see internationally a lot of young persons are suffering from their lungs being collapsed. I'm not exactly sure what the medical term for that is, but there are grave consequences for vaping. So I'm really happy to see that. All right, so also advocating against drug use and abuse is the Division of Community Development and Social Protection, who is hosting a drug awareness expo to encourage responsible choices and healthy stress management on Thursday, February 12, 2026. That's tomorrow, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Lowlands Mall under the theme Substance Use and Stress, finding healthy ways to cope. The expo will feature prevention and treatment resources, stress management support, health screenings by the TRHA, and information on the legal consequences of substance misuse from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Counseling and rehabilitation support from Changing Lanes, along with traditional games and a speech band competition are also planned. So I want to encourage our citizens, islanders, get down there tomorrow at the Lowlands Mall and take part. Even if you don't use or misuse the drugs, you get the information, and you never know along life's way who you're gonna bounce upon or who's gonna come along in your path that you could pass on this information. All right, we all are here to make a difference in somebody's life each and every day. Taking a look in the wider entity, Trinidad and Tobago, that's nationally. Trinidad and Tobago has recorded, I don't know how prepared you are for this news. Trinidad and Tobago has recorded no improvement on the 2025 corruption, Perceptions Index, maintaining a score of 41 out of 100. According to the Trinidad and Tobago Transparency Institute, the unchanged score places the country in the mid-range globally and slightly below the Americas, a regional average of 42. TTTI said the result highlights ongoing governance challenges and a persistent gap between stated policy commitments and effective enforcement. I want you to pay attention to that. So there's a gap between stated policy. We're good at laws. We're good at policy. We have them all. We love to go to the parliament. We pass them. They're great policy, but not very effective at enforcing them. Clearly, the Institute pointed to continued weaknesses in public financial management, delays in implementing the Whistleblower Protection Act, and lack of meaningful campaign finance reform. I hope you heard that part. The lack of a meaningful campaign, we're talking about election campaigns here, finance reform as key concerns. Have you ever wondered where your political party, whether it's your favorite political party or just any other political entity, gets those finances from? That's the campaign finance reform that we're speaking about. So TTTI warned that without decisive corrective action, public trust and the credibility of state institutions could continue to decline. But not only that, we also have to take into consideration that whatever might leak from the government on a whole, that is your benefits leaking into personal purses or whatever is happening there. So when we just smile at these things or we brush them off, we're doing ourselves and we're doing the future of our children no good. All right, so we're going to take a look regionally. A team of Commonwealth election experts are currently in Barbados to observe the island's general election today, marking the first time such a mission has been sent to the country. The Commonwealth expert team set was dispatched by Commonwealth Secretary General Shirley Botchway and is being led by Sarah Flood Barebone, former Speaker of St. Lucia's House of Assembly. During the mission, the team will engage with key stakeholders, including election officials, political parties, civil society groups, and the media. The set will later submit a report outlining its findings and recommendations to the Secretary General. Botchway said the deployment reflects the Commonwealth's commitment to promoting free, transparent, and inclusive elections among its member states. The team arrived in Barbados on February 5th and is expected to depart on February 17th with support from the Commonwealth Secretariat staff. And finally, we're going to take a wrap up internationally. French President Emmanuel Macron has urged Europe to assert itself on the world stage, saying it is time to start acting like, quote, a power. In the face of growing threats from China, Russia, and now the US, Macron told a group of European newspapers that the continent faced a, quote, wake-up call, saying, quote, are we ready to become a power? This is the question in the field of economy and finance, in defense and security, and in our democratic systems. In another era, we might have said it is the moment to assume our majority, he said ahead of an EU summit in Brussels later this week. International tensions there, of course, we have to pay attention to that. The EU saying it's time, well, Macron's telling the EU it's time we assert ourselves as a powerhouse. I mean, Europe was a powerhouse in colonial times for a very long time. There's always a shift, that's how the world works. 1 minute you're up, 1 minute you're down. There's a shift. We never think that we're here, that we're stationary, that we're irreplaceable, that we're irremovable. There's always going to be a shift. There's always going to be something and somebody to cause a shift and stir something up and even let you know where you stand. So this morning, you're probably wondering, Lavia, what current affairs topic I'm going to have with you this morning. You're going to be really, really intrigued. We're going to be talking about sedition. I don't know if you recall late last year, there was a lady that was detained. I believe she was detained under the SOE, and it was because she had released information where she tagged Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and saying, this is where the Prime Minister lives, this is where you need to attack. There were multiple persons, but we recently had someone charged. And so what have you been posting on social media that you don't know is seditious? Not only that, not only sedition, but even your social media behavior from a TTPS point of view. Well, this morning we're going to be having those conversations. We're going to be talking to David Tobago. He's an attorney at law, legal officer, and state prosecutor with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. But before we dive into that conversation with him, we're going to take a short break. And when I come back, I'm going to give you a prelude, and then we head right into that conversation. Again, I want to thank you for making us number one, choosing Sunrise to wake you up in the morning. In the meantime, enjoy the aerial view. I'll see you back here in a bit. So do me a favor and share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be back.
Coming up, fets, pan, parades, soca. Yes, Carnival is in full swing. Artists from all over added their strokes to Antigua and Barbuda's canvas. A boost for these Barbadian projects through the power to make a difference. Equal servings of culture and good cheer. It's Caribbean Passport TV right here on this station.
Formerly known as Shade, for them called Tobago, said, let's celebrate Carnival. Bring your coolers every Friday and Saturday, starting from Friday the 30th of January till Carnival week, and pay $50 at the door with your cooler all night. No ice, no chase out allowed. Top DJ and artists passing through every Friday and Saturday. To pre-book your cabanas, call 369-6414 and 394-3612 or email iwamg@gmail.com. And this promotion is going on until Easter. Gates open at 9 p.m. It's rum, it's bacchanal. Bring your coolers and come.
Been down this road before. All that left is rum and bacchanal. This is Carnival.
Hey, you come in. Long time I see you, Joe. This station pumping. Ready for children party. Mommy! Jay, you can't go nowhere with these children. And you know you can't depend on Kevin neither Steven to see about them. Yeah, total waste. So I supposed to stay home whole time? Jada is 12. She could see about them. You just leave Jada to see about Kia and Kayla? I thought it was your mother or your sister. Who? Them always busy. Jada could handle that. She cooking and cleaning a long time. And the next two better know what time it is. It's only me, you know. I will talk to my mother. She just home these days. She will make sure the children okay. Alright. Let me see the moves for later.
Before your Ramajé, make sure the children okay. Call 996 to report all child abuse now. A message from the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago.
viewers, welcome back to Sunrise here on Tobago Updates Television. Thank you so much for staying with us. As promised, a very interesting conversation for you this morning, talking sedition. And as a reminder, we will be speaking to Mr. David Tobago, State Prosecutor with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. But before we dive into the conversation with him, I want to give you a prelude. So last Friday, Crystal Howard appeared before Master Mohammed at the Port of Spain High Court, where the charge of sedition was laid. She pleaded not guilty to the offense. According to prosecutors, the charge stemmed from a video reportedly posted online which encouraged a foreign involvement in an attack on the Prime Minister's official residence. This was last year. After hearing submissions, the court granted Howard bail in the sum of $100,000 with a suitable surety. Bail was granted under strict conditions, including the surrender of her passport to the registrar of the court, weekly reporting to a designated police station, and the requirement that she reside at her parents' home. In a statement following the court proceedings, so I want you to pay attention to, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service reminded the public that freedom of expression carries legal limits. Police warn that online content which promotes violence, encourages attacks, and threatens national security may lead to arrest and prosecution. Authorities continue to urge citizens to use social media responsibly and in keeping with the law, particularly on matters affecting public safety and national stability. So I know my technical crew is going to give you a photo there in a minute of what was posted by Miss Howard. So you're seeing a photo of the Prime Minister's residence with a target on it, and Nicolas Maduro is tagged, Delcy Rodriguez is tagged as well. So that is where we are going to be basing our conversation this morning. And so joining me to have that discussion is David Tobago, attorney at law, legal officer, and state prosecutor with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Mr. Tobago, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us here on Sunrise.
Pleasant good morning to the platform, listening and viewing public. I bring greetings on behalf of the Commissioner of Police, as well as his executive, as well as the executive of the Tobago Division within the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Good morning again.
Good morning, sir. So starting off, one time we dive right into the conversation. For the viewing public and even myself, could you tell us what exactly constitutes a sedition?
Moving on. Firstly, I would like to bring to the fore constitutional principle that is known and respected throughout the entire world. There must be some sort of accountability by arms of state. And when I say constitutional principle, I refer to the different arms of state, being the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. So the legislature is responsible for creating or implementing the law, as it were, legislating upon what they think ought to be the law based on how society is being conducted at the point in time or controlled. They are the ones that are elected to govern the nation. The judiciary interprets the law, and the executive, under which the TTPS falls, enforcers of the law. So before we delve into the discussion, I just thought that it would be somewhat appropriate to make that distinction. Then we can, of course, differentiate what roles each arm of state play. So when it comes to sedition in Trinidad and Tobago, it must be noted that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So the Constitution, being the supreme law of the land, ought to be respected in its entirety. There may be other laws that may be enacted and enforced by the TTPS, being the primary law enforcement body in the Republic. However, please, it again must be respected and noted at all times that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and every law that comes thereafter must fit within that constitutional construct. So our constitution in this republic caters for, and I will delve into it most immediately, freedom of thought and expression. Now, I raised that point preliminarily due to the fact that conversation that we're having this morning is based on sedition. We do have legislation that governs uh, an action that is seditious or perhaps seditious um, conduct then to sort of curb certain behavior within the society. So Chapter 1104, the Sedition Act of Trinidad and Tobago, Chapter 1104, particularly Section 3, highlights what is a seditious intention. And it must be noted in conjunction with the Constitution being, as it is, freedom of thought and expression. Under the Constitution, one ought to enjoy our rights, fundamental rights and freedoms, so to speak. But it must be done within the ambits of the law. And you may ask yourself, what is sedition? And how do I then know whether I am crossing the line between sedition and freedom of speech and or expression? Well, primarily, sedition or seditious conduct would involve, most certainly, some sort of statement, whether it be by way of publication, also known as libel, or slander, whether it be spoken, to more or less bring to the fore some sort of disruption, hatred, or contempt against the state. And within that explanation, layman example as it were, or explanation as it were, in itself is sort of perhaps confusing to the layperson. But a point to take away is the fact that sedition must involve some sort of incitement of hatred, contempt, or dissatisfaction, and that brings about a certain degree against the government, constitution, parliament, the state as a whole. Then.
All right, so I want to ask you though, so where do we draw the line, or where do we filter through and sift through freedom of speech, dissent with government, and sedition? Because I might want to say, well, the government doing nonsense, and I might want to make a social media post and say, well, this is the worst government, this is the worst we ever been through. Where do I draw the line between freedom of speech, paying attention to my economy and my country, and sedition?
Yes, thank you for the question. Most certainly, it is very important, a very important question, and important to note. Again, so once there is a promotion of ill will and hostility that may tend to or actually cause some sort of disruption, violence, contempt against the government or the state, the line has to be drawn at some point. And I think that it is important to note, why it's not intending to infringe upon the rule against sub judice. Live matters, I won't speak of, or active investigations, but I heard just before coming on an example being used. And you, as the host yourself, made reference to a very important point based on a photo that was shared. The test that would be used most certainly would be that of the reasonable man, the man that we refer to on the Clapman omnibus. What that means is that one may want to perhaps justify his or her speech, and we must take each case on its own merits, which is important when applying law as well as investigations. So if one is to determine his or her statement being worthy of being published, released on social media, or you can speak it out in public, thereafter, when you are to look at the content of the statement, if the statement has the potential or has actually caused some sort of ill will, hostility, some sort of action that would undermine the state, then it may qualify for an investigation to be undertaken. Whereas if you are perhaps voicing, as per your constitutional rights and privileges, freedoms, an expression of dissatisfaction or a criticism that is not, or does not have the potential to incite any violence per se, or cause a certain action or reaction from a particular group or person to harm the state itself, then that distinction must be drawn. So, for example, if one is to perhaps just in a blanket statement give his or her opinion about an arm of state. Nothing is wrong with that, and we have seen it most recently. Again, I wouldn't want to touch on active investigations or matters that are before the court, but we have seen it recently with a particular video in the public domain where certain opinions were made about an office holder. Whereas, if one is to perhaps incite a particular action or do a particular thing against that office holder, then we are then crossing that line. In relation to freedom of expression and or your opinion compared to an action that may eventually be deemed to be seditious. A point to note, please, is that under the Sedition Act as well, Section 9, if I'm not mistaken, there is a protection for speeches made by members of the public, in that the TTPS, wise we are a law enforcement body, and we can carry out our investigations, there must be the written consent of the Director of Public Prosecution, which in itself is a constitutional safeguard before any charge can be laid against an individual. I do not say that to say, that there is a get out of jail card in itself to make statements as one pleases, because the investigation also caters for the fact that you may be arrested and or interviewed so that that seditious intention may further be established by the TTPS. So I ask that we be responsible then in statements that we make, or things that we may tend to, let's say, in the midst of a moment or just of a moment, out of emotions. We ought to be responsible in what we say and how we say. Do not promote violence. Do not go about publishing or reposting content that would tend to have a certain connotation to it, whereas violence can be derived therefrom, whether it be by, again, direct inciting or otherwise some sort of promoting of that violence against the state.
Right. So please correct me if I'm wrong, but seditious and sedition laws really stemmed from colonial times with emperors and kings and so on, and sort of keeping the population in check to not go against the hierarchy, right? My question to you is, well, it's multifaceted. So it's how old are our sedition laws? Also, are they archaic? Are they up to modern times? And then even if we look at developing countries, or even in the recent decades, and pay attention to sedition charges that might have been laid internationally. If we use the US, for example, we're talking about the 2020 Capitol, where we had the Oath Keepers storming the Capitol, and they were eventually charged. One man is now facing 18 years in prison, and he was charged with sedition. So my question to you is how old and archaic it is, and also too, is it that sedition laws could be used by the state against citizens to shut them up or keep them quiet or keep them in line from being able to voice their concerns?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Very interesting in terms of the enactment of such laws. Yes, please. These laws has been on the law books for quite some time. I would say pre-independence, before we as well establish our constitution here as a republic. These laws were, in fact, on the law books. In terms of its applicability, Section 5 of the Constitution caters for our savings law and clause. And what happens is that, what that means is that perhaps the sedition law that was there pre our Constitution, sort of my apologies, Section 6 sort of was safeguarded more or less, in that the savings law clause exists. It was an existing law, and it Wise is on the law books. Arguments from many jurists, journalists, politicians, um, citizens as well. The discussion always unfolds in that these laws are archaic and its applicability in modern day society. Point a note again in terms of our constitutional principles. The legislature or legislative makes laws. If Parliament sees it fit to have an amendment or a repealing of a certain act, then they have the means to do so until such time that some sort of enactment or repealing of the said legislation is put in place by our parliament, or we being a democratic society. And what is on the law books ought to be enforced as well as applied by the judiciary, interpreted by the judiciary. Again, I will also add a point that was made before, the constitutional safeguard that is afforded to the citizens by way of the Director of Public Prosecution in the Sedition Act itself, being the one to give that consent to proceed with the laying of the charge. May I just inquire as to the second part of the question again, please?
Oh, my second part was whether or not sitting governments could use that sedition law to keep, let's say, political activists that go against their governance, keep them in check, keep them quiet, and even within that remit, the TTPS investigating such a case, is it that the TTPS will also look at all these angles as well?
So the TTPS role and function within the society is that of enforcing the law. So once a report is made to the police has the responsibility to investigate that report. In the investigation of a report, it must be noted that the TTPS would investigate a crime. And to prove the elements of a crime, one must prove the act, the mental element, as well as an individual may very well have a defense. So that in itself ought to be investigated as well. I say that to say that the TTPS does not align itself with any political party. It is independent. The operation of the TTPS is one whereby we have a mandate, and the mandate is that to protect and serve with pride, yes, but we also need to investigate in a manner that is free from any political motivation, any sort of influence, and the TTPS would only be able to enforce what is on the law books. So to say that the government in itself may want to use or may perhaps are using certain laws on the law books to influence the acts of citizens in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, I am uncertain as to the TTPS's corroboration, if I may borrow that term, to perhaps align with any perceived government or political agenda.
Right. All right. Totally understand that, sir. So right before we wrap, because, I really wish we had more time because there's so much more that I would like to ask on this topic. But I want to take a moment here for social media because my first question is, do we have laws specific to social media use in Trinidad and Tobago? Because I want to know what can I post and what can I reshare? And is there any truth to whatever I reshare, I claim those words as mine as well? So please tell me so I'm asking you again, so do we have any social media laws, and also what are some of the mistakes that persons make and that they're not aware of where social media use is concerned?
Thank you for your question. So I know that we are wrapping up. So in a nutshell, no, we do not have any specific social media laws within the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. However, we must be, again, responsible in the things that we post as well as the things that we share, which in itself is a post. I say that to say that there are laws that may be infringed, whilst one may very well be within their right of posting. Again, we are a democratic society. You do have the freedom of expression. You can post. It's your Facebook account, your WhatsApp account. You share what you want. However, that must be done within the ambit of the law. So, for example, you cannot take to your Facebook account and send threats to someone. You cannot take to your Facebook account and engage in a course of conduct that may very well infringe the laws of the land, in that the Offences Against the Persons Act, Chapter 30A, caters for the offense of harassment, done on at least 2 occasions. So, what constitutes harassment in itself is another discussion, but I'm saying in a nutshell that you cannot be engaging in acts that may infringe or offend other laws. So we again ought to be responsible in what we post via our social media platforms, as well as share or reshare, because it may very well run the consequence, albeit it is your account, of you being the subject of an investigation, which of course you wouldn't want to find yourself in. It is very unfortunate that you would find yourself in the hands of an investigator as a result of a social media post. So we must be cautious in what we post, what we say. There are laws of the land that may be infringed in one's posting, to encapsulate in a nutshell.
All right. Mr. Tobago, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Sunrise this morning. It's always a pleasure collaborating with the TTPS as we bring information to the general public. I know that I will definitely be inviting you back here again as we have further conversations.
Most certainly. Thank you again for having me, and I look forward to returning. Of course, the time that we had this morning would appear to be very short, given the nature of the conversations that we had. But I look forward to returning.
Of course, I want to wish you a great day. Thank you so much. All right, so viewers, that was David Tobago. He's a prosecutor with the Trinidad and Tobago Legal Office and Prosecutor, Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, as we talked about sedition. Yes, don't know if you recall last year, that lady that was recently charged with, she had the photo on her social media with a picture of the Prime Minister's house with a target on it, and she would have tagged Nicolas Maduro and others, saying, "This is where you attack." That is when we had the talks of war and so on. So quite an interesting conversation, not only that, your conduct on social media.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. It's who we are and the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. We're deepening our commitment to the region, continuing to invest in the networks, services, and digital solutions that move Caribbean businesses forward. Whether you are a mid-sized business or multinational player, we bring you resilient connectivity, personalized service, and tailored IT solutions, all powered by local teams that truly have your back. We're here to help you navigate challenges, grow, and achieve your goals with practical solutions, reliable networks, and a partnership rooted in trust and your long-term success. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome to the Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show. I am one of your hosts today, Jaysha Digans, and I'm joined by the lovely...
Hi, good morning, Tanisha Cupid. Good morning to all our viewers. It is so wonderful to be here this morning. And Jaysha, we just want to welcome everyone who is viewing us on whatever platform they're viewing on, whether they're viewing on AMPLIA, Flow, or Digicel. Even if you're viewing on social media, Facebook and YouTube, we want to say welcome.
Most definitely. And of course, we are coming to you live from the Port Mall right here in Scarborough, Tobago. So Tanisha, you know, we have to give them the news in 90 seconds. So here's what's making the news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, February 11th, 2026. The TTPS Tobago Division, in collaboration with the Agency for the Prevention of Drug Abuse and the Promotion of Rehabilitation, also known as ADAP, recently visited Pembroke Anglican Primary School and Goodwood Methodist Primary School as part of Drug Awareness Week. This initiative, spearheaded by ACPPA and Senior Soup Kirk and supervised by ASP Bacchus, Inspector Sterling and Sergeant Jonas, featured interactive discussions with students on carnival safety, drug use and abuse, and the importance of making healthy life choices. Officers reassured students that the police are their friends and always ready to help keep them safe. Students were also advised to call 211 or 999 if they are ever left at home alone and feel afraid. ADAP representatives further engaged the students on the dangers of alcohol, tobacco and vaping while promoting healthy lifestyle choices and positive decision making. The collaboration reinforces ongoing efforts to create safer schools, informed youths and stronger communities across Tobago. Also advocating against drug use and abuse is the Division of Community Development and Social Protection, who is hosting a drug awareness expo to encourage responsible choices and healthy stress management on Thursday. Yes, this Thursday, February 12th, 2026 from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Lowlands Mall. And the theme for this initiative is Substance Use and Stress, Finding Healthy Ways to Cope. The expo will feature prevention and treatment resources, stress management support, health screenings by the Tobago Regional Health Authority, and information on the legal consequences of substance misuse from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Counseling and rehabilitation support from Changing Lanes, along with traditional games and a speech band competition, are also planned. So you definitely don't want to miss this on Thursday, February 12, 2026 from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Lowlands Mall. And finally, Trinidad and Tobago has recorded no improvement on the 2025 Corruption Perceptions Index, maintaining a score of 41 out of 100, according to the Trinidad and Tobago Transparency Institute, also known as TTTI. The unchanged score places the country in the mid-range globally and slightly below the America's regional average of 42. TTTI said that the result highlights ongoing governance challenges and a persistent gap between stated policy commitments and effective enforcement. The institute pointed to continued weakness in public financial management, delays in implementing the Whistleblower Protection Act, and the lack of meaningful campaign finance reform as key concerns. TTTI warned that without decisive corrective action, public trust and the credibility of state institutions could continue to decline. These and other stories in our major newscast at 6:30 p.m. Be viewing Tobago Updates Television, and that was your news in 90 seconds. Tanisha, I think we have some birthdays to celebrate today.
Oh yes, we have some persons that we want to celebrate with, and we are shouting out this morning Mr. Drew Dyer. We want to say happy birthday to Drew. We hope that you'll have a wonderful day today, and may God continue to bless you as you celebrate this new year. Up next, we have the lovely and talented Mrs. Asha Mars Lewis, and we know that Asha Mars Lewis, she contributes so much to the Tobago space, lovely weddings, events, and this is a woman, a jack of all trades, and we want to say happy birthday to you, coming from the Tobago Update team and also your family and your friends.
Happy birthday.
And finally, for our birthday shout-outs today, we have Miss Laura Nora. It kind of rhyme, yeah? And we want to say happy birthday to you, Laura. We hope that today is filled with lots of joy and laughter. And we want to encourage everyone that once you're celebrating, you can send it and we can celebrate along with you. Whether it is your birthday or an anniversary, feel free to share it with us at Tobago Updates.
And Tanisha, we have a power-packed program today. We're going to be talking about culture, food, even calypso. So the viewers should stay tuned, and of course they should share the live.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
Every night and day, I want to wave, I want to wine, I want to party with you. I want to look it right here. I want to wave, I want to wine, I want to party with you. When the rhythm pumping up, it's everybody jumping up. We sweating, and when the sun is blazing, it's party like we crazy.
Coming up, fets, pan, parades, soca. Yes, Carnival is in full swing. Artists from all over added their strokes to Antigua and Barbuda's canvas. A boost for these Barbadian projects through the power to make a difference. Equal servings of culture and good cheer. It's Caribbean Passport TV right here on this station.
Come in. Long time I see you, Joe. This station pumping. Ready for children party. Mommy! Jay, you can't go nowhere with these children. And you know you can't depend on Kevin neither Stephen to see about them. Yeah, total waste. So I supposed to stay home whole time? Jada is 12. She could see about them. You just leave Jada to see about Kia and Kayla? I thought it's your mother or your sister. Who? Them always busy. Jada could handle that. She cooking and cleaning a long time. And the next two better know what time it is. It's only me, you know. I will talk to my mother. She just home these days. She will make sure the children okay. Alright. Let me see the moves for later.
Before your ramage, make sure the children okay. Call 996 to report all child abuse now. A message from the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning Tobago, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Youth Morning Show. And again, we are coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. And I'm here with my co-host Dwayne. Good morning, Dwayne.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here, Jisha. It's always a pleasure to be here hosting with you. You know, on this, we'll call it Wednesday before Carnival.
I don't even know. You might have to invent a word for it.
Yeah.
Bacchanal Wednesday.
Bacchanal Wednesday. All right.
It used to be.
All right, but you know, we have a really good guest this morning. Probably the first time I'm seeing her. But she called my name this morning as if she knew me from a long time. And I guess this, you know, once you're in Tobago, everybody is family, I guess. So good morning and welcome to you.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Yes, and we have Miss Malini Samsunda Amo. I hope that I did not butcher that.
No, you didn't. You did very well.
All right.
You.
So thank you so much. So, Miss Malini, some viewers may be hearing about Seaview for the first time.
Yes.
So tell us, what is Seaview?
Well, Seaview is new. It's an idea. It is a new brand that myself and my husband going into this new adventure. Seaview, everybody loves a Seaview, and we love Tobago because of its beautiful scenery and sea views. We enjoy Tobago. And so Seaview actually stands for Samsunda, that's my name, Samsunda engineered, Amo visioned in every world stage. And it's really to take our sweet Trinbago culture to the rest of the world. I think we have so much to offer the world, and it's just a brand to do that, and, you know, an exciting new adventure. So it's really to celebrate our culture, our food, our music, our people, the way we speak, and the warmth of, you know, what is Trinbago.
Oh, right. So that's really lovely, you know, and very creative, you know. You chose launching, well, you're launching on Carnival Friday in Mercy in Boko, right?
Yes.
Why was Tobago selected, and more so, why was Boko selected?
Right. So, as I said, we love Tobago. I'm always in Tobago. All my friends say, you should live here, and I probably would think about it.
You don't live here?
Not yet.
I'm fooled.
No, I live here. I live in Trinidad and Tobago. There we go. So, you know, Boko, I think, is, for me, a place has an energy,
And a couple of years ago, I just fell in love with Boko again. You know, I grew up in a village. Boko is a nice village, gives me that feeling. It's calm, it's beautiful. I enjoy being there. I think it's one of the most beautiful sceneries in Tobago. I like the energy there. I like being there and seeing the horses on the beach. You know, I like the people there. So I just thought it was a beautiful place to celebrate nature and a beautiful sea view.
Right.
There we go.
Yes, that's so lovely. So, as we mentioned, the launch is on Friday. This Friday, Carnival Friday.
Yes.
So, if persons are coming, what can they expect?
Right. Well, we know it's Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
And for the past couple of years, I've been in Tobago on Fantastic Friday. And it's so quiet here. And I mean, we like the peace of Tobago. However, you know, we want a little energy, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
we thought that because we wanted to launch in Tobago because it's such a beautiful setting. It sets the right tone for what Seaview is expected to become. And we think Tobago is a good place to start. It is Carnival Friday, and all the action, most of the action is in Trinidad, but we want to bring a little action to Tobago. You know, we did do it all-inclusive, like an all-inclusive carnival type party or celebration, but it's also Valentine's Day the next day. So we do have a beautiful violinist. His name is Marky Music. Just to add a little love notes into the air, we are also having Trisha Lee Kelshall as our feature performer with her full band in the arts. So I'm looking forward to that. And also Buccaneer Steel Orchestra. We wanted to celebrate the pan and enjoy, you know, the music that comes from Boko itself. I mean, Boko is such a beautiful village, and we just wanted to interact with the village and also with the rest of Tobago as well. So for those who wanting to just have a little, you know, Fantastic Friday is when, you know, you get really excited about Carnival. So that's why we chose that date. And we're inviting everyone to come down and to enjoy this launch with us. Yes.
Right. I mean, you mentioned violinists.
Yes.
You mentioned pan. Can you share with the viewers if it's a pan side? Do we have any surprise guests? Marshall come in?
No, I don't think so. Marshall say he only having 2 hours of sleep, so we don't want to add a flight to that.
Well, as we seen voice can't behave itself.
Oh yes, I know, I understand. Well, I can't behave myself either. A former mentor of mine, Mr. Dutton's going to laugh if he hears that. Every time he sees me say, you're behaving yourself. But no, we have a few surprises. We have a couple door prizes. You know, courtesy Merci Beaucoup has a package for the weekend for a special door prize winner. We also have Seahorse Inn, who is sponsoring our Valentine's Day dinner for 2. And I think we have a nice spa package from a lovely lady in Trinidad. Natalie is her name, Yearwood. It's all about you. So we want somebody to be pampered for Valentine's Day. So those are the surprises. But the other surprises is excellent food. We're going to have all sorts of food, Tobago food, Seaview food, seafood, Trinidad curries, a little barbecue. So it's a nice little vibe, you know.
Getting doubles by chance?
No doubles. We have curry. We might have some roti,
okay,
but no doubles. But we might have some other surprises as far as the food. And my chef whispered something in our ear, and we're looking forward to his food. Yes.
Chef.
Maybe we'll have some wild meat. I don't know. He kind of promised. Maybe.
I'm seeing Buccaneer's Pansai being featured as well.
Yes. They are to be confirmed. We wanted to use a pan side from the village. Yes, so we're hoping to have some sweet pan music.
So let's talk about food for a bit, because you know that is one of the major highlights at any event.
My major highlight.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
That's why you should attend, Wayne.
Yes.
So the menu sounds decadent.
Yes.
Right? If to put it across like that. There is seafood.
Yes.
Carving stations.
Yes.
Trini curries.
Correct.
Tobago blue food.
Yes.
So is this an all-inclusive culinary experience?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the best things about Trinidad and Tobago. We enjoy eating, we enjoy tasting food.
Yes.
And I think it's something our visitors and people all around the world love about Trinidad, our exquisite food. I think it represents maybe our exquisite culture and feelings and what we put in the pot. You know, we have some excellent cooks in Trinidad and Tobago, and I think it is going to be a culinary experience. It is all inclusive, drinks included, and also we have decadent desserts. I have some special desserts from a provider in Trinidad called the Little P, and she has done pistachio, chocolate truffles, and a couple other really exciting desserts. Yes. So I think it is going to be quite a food experience. Decadent chocolate cake, cheesecake, all the nice things that, you know, we ladies like at Valentine's Day.
All right. You know, the most important thing about any event or attending any event is the time and cost of the event.
Yeah, so we have tried to keep the cost affordable. You know, alcohol has gone up, but we have an all-inclusive experience. It's $1,200 a ticket. The time is from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. because some of my guests are coming from Trinidad, so they have to catch the last flight out. So maybe Merci Beaucoup will let us go a little beyond 11, but basically it's an afternoon of just enjoying the beautiful sea view, enjoying each other, enjoying the nice food, relaxing, knowing it's carnival. A lot of people don't have to go to work Monday and Tuesday, so it's just to relax. And we really would like to invite Tobago to this event because Tobago hardcore carnival persons must be in Trinidad, but I'm sure there are lots of people in Tobago who'd like a little carnival something. So come down to Merci Beaucoup and to see you at the launch. We would love to have you.
And if persons want further information, are there contact numbers that persons can utilize?
Absolutely. There's a WhatsApp number, 491-3005, and tickets are also available on Island E-Tickets or at Merci Beaucoup, or that number 491-3005.
Yeah. What about persons who, you know, just came in or come off the cruise ship and heard about this thing and didn't get a chance to buy a ticket prior to the day?
But I did look at the cruise ship schedule and I realized they are leaving at 6.
They're leaving at 6. They're missing out something.
Yeah,
so they could come for 4. They could be down there around 3:30.
I actually thought of invite, but I think it might be too short. You know, but if you want to come down and have a look at what a all inclusive is, or hear some music, you know, but I think it's going to be too short for them to really enjoy. So maybe next time we'll plan it a little better. But yes, I think that it would be nice to have some tourists on the island of Tobago come and see what a carnival all-inclusive is about, because you know, they may not be able to make it to Trinidad. So yes.
And for persons who might be interested in the dress code, what is the expected dress code for an event of this nature?
Right. Well, you know, I think all the fashion these days seems to be white because it's so just, you know, pure and beautiful. But we want white with a splash of your favorite sea view color. So blues and greens and aquamarines and turquoise, like the beautiful lady on the other side of the table, we just want the color of the ocean, you know, and the ocean is full of colors on different occasions, different sea views, different times of the day. So, you know, wear your colors, sea view.
And I saw that you got the excitement started already because I'm seeing blue and green in your hair.
To kind of try to get that Boko blue. Boko blue is a color.
Yes.
I think it should be on some paint chart somewhere. Boko blue is a beautiful color of the sea, the ocean that I love. I think it's more like a turquoise most times if I am to describe it. Yes.
Definitely.
You know, but it is a pleasure to have you here.
Yes.
And, you know, thank you for bringing this event to Tobago. I hope it wouldn't be the first.
Oh, no. We're definitely hoping to be back for Tobago Carnival. Let's see. We hope that would be the case, and I would like to kindly invite both of you to join us, please, to see you. So I will see you on Friday.
I must give it to the lady.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Yes,
having
yes,
me.
yes,
This is so exciting to be here this morning.
All right. So,
Thank you for being here.
All right, and thank you so much, Tobago, for having me be here and to Tobago Update. And I want to wish everybody a safe and happy carnival.
all right. So thank you guys again. You heard it here first at the big updates. You know, get your blue. So if you miss Lime today at the Hyatt Regency, there is you see view in Tobago.
That's right.
Just make sure you have your white and your hint of blue. There are different shades. We just mentioned them, and just remember to get your tickets. It's available on Island E. So thank you guys for joining us. Just remember to
Share the live, share the live, share the live.
Come let we go, come let we go, come let we go to sweet Tobago. Come let we go, come till you know, come find your soul in sweet Tobago.
Tobago, it's Carnival. The Vibe, the event space formerly known as Shade, for the court Tobago said, let's celebrate Carnival. Bring your coolers every Friday and Saturday, starting from Friday the 30th of January till Carnival week, and pay $50 at the door with your cooler all night. No ice, no chaser allowed. Top DJ and artists passing through every Friday and Saturday. To pre-book your cabanas, call 369-6414 and 394-3612 or email iwang@gmail.com. And this promotion is going on until Easter. Gates open at 9 p.m. It's rum, it's bacchanal. Bring your coolers and come.
Been down this road before. All that left is rum and bacchanal. This is carnival.
Who said the elderly can't have fun too? We're talking good food, proper music, lots of games, and a day at the beach they will never forget. From the time we left the compound at Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, the vibe was already established. Wheels up and seatbelts on. Watch now, when we touched down in Pigeon Point, everybody was ready for excitement. But before anything could take place, we had to secure our bellies. You ever play bingo by the beachside? Well, that was the first activity on the roster, and boy did these seniors have fun. However, others wanted something more physical, so we brought out the ring toss, and not even arthritis could have stopped them. Well, I was blown away at how straight these people were. Are you sure this is a home for the elderly? Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, but nothing beats the song of Good Steel Pan by the shores while we take a dip in Tobago's finest water. Wait, more food again? This is my type of event. The energy was amazing and nothing short of a blessing. Pick up Heavenly Care Home for the Elderly, because joy doesn't retire, laughter doesn't age, and memories like these last forever.
To a stranger.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and the service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meats served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to all our viewers, and we are coming live to you with a traffic report. We are at the Wilson Road traffic light, and we are seeing that traffic is flowing smoothly. Persons who are going to the east, the traffic is still very good, so you still have time to get to work. So those of you, we've seen a slight build up for persons coming from Plymouth roadside. So I'm encouraging persons to get up, get in that vehicle and get to work, especially those who are coming from Plymouth Road. I know about that traffic that will carry you straight to coast cutters. You don't want to be in that. Yeah, but those who are coming from the west, from the western side of Tobago, you're well primed to get to work on time. So get up and get out. Today is the 11th and you don't want to be late. So this is your traffic update, sponsored by Tobago Updates.
Thank you so much for that lovely traffic report, Tanisha. And you know, we have an exciting guest in studio today, Miss Sherman Joy Charles. She's the manager of ADAP. So good morning, Miss Sherman.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me here today.
No problem. And how are you today?
I am pretty good. So far, I'm having a good day, yes.
Nice. I'm happy to hear that. So can you briefly explain what Drug Awareness Week is and why is it important for Tobago?
So our Drug Awareness Week was an initiative that was started in 2016 by our former manager, Billy Sterling Lewis. And what we are trying to do is really get the information out there about the dangers of substance use. And when we talk about substance use, we're talking about using any substance outside of food and water that changes the way your body works. So what we're trying to do is get Tobago educated, get Tobago empowered so that they can continue to make good decisions or healthy decisions regarding their substance use. So that's basically what Drug Awareness Week is about, and particularly for this year, we want to focus on the link between substance use and stress.
So, Sherman, we know that ADAP, we have been doing this Drug Awareness Week for a couple of years now, right? And so what I would like you to share with the viewers and share with us is how has it evolved over the years? I see that you all have been doing this thing since 2016, right? We're in 2026. Take us through the evolution. What have been going on over the years, and tell us about this for this year, 2026.
So when we started Drug Awareness Week, it was basically supposed to be around the International Day of Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, which would have been held in June. And during that time, we'll basically focus mainly on the schools. So we'll pick a community, we'll go and do education sessions at those schools, and then we'll try to meet with one or two of those community groups there as well. But we realized that we need to kind of make it more island-wide, broaden the scope a bit. And so we have still included the school aspect. So we still go to visit schools, but we also are trying to do something more island-wide to reach the entire of Tobago, which is why we have these outreach initiatives and these media initiatives as well, because we realize that substance use doesn't affect any one community. Right now, it's affecting all communities in Tobago. And so that's why we want to really reach as much persons as we can with this initiative.
All right, so let's talk a bit about the team that was selected for this year, right? Stress and substance use. What is the connection between stress and substance use?
So what we realized, one thing ADAPT does is that we also facilitate referrals for persons who may be having issues, need to have some kind of counseling or outpatient treatment for their substance use. And when we do our assessments, we realize that a lot of these persons are really using it because they are going through some kind of stressful situation. So for example, a young person might come in because they are stressed from school, from social pressures, from a family breakdown. And then we have the adults who have chronic stress because they always have to worry about work, about finances, about their children, about their wives. And so we realize that these persons don't have the skills to cope well. So instead of trying to cope well in healthy ways, they are going towards the use of alcohol, they're drinking, they're smoking marijuana, they're using tobacco, and then we have those persons who are using those synthetic drugs and synthetic pills as well. And so we realize that we don't really have to deal with the symptom, but we have to deal with the root cause of their substance use.
You know, Sherman, you spoke about stress, right? Some people would say young people are stressed. What stress them young people have? Them paying bills, you know. I would always make a joke. I say young people are no stress, so they're not paying no bills, you know. But we know that all jokes aside, we know that stress is a real thing, right? And so you would have pull together the connection between stress and the substance, and what are some of the risks? Because sometimes persons would say, hey, just take a little drink to ease the stress and thing, but there are risks that are associated with alcohol and drug use. It's not just among young people, but among adults. Speak to us about that.
So first of all, I want to say that when persons use these substances, they're not dealing with the stress. They're numbing their response to the stress for a short time. So it's sort of like medication. So they're medicating with the substance use because they just want to not feel and not worry and not be anxious. And what is my major issue with that is that it leads to a dependence. So what happens is you're going through a stressful situation. Instead of dealing with this situation, you're going to drink. And so when you are drunk, you're not thinking about it because you're drunk. You're a little high. When that high wears off, the stress is still there. And so you go back and you drink again and again. And what happens is that that person develops a dependence on the substance, whether it be alcohol, marijuana, the pills, because now their brain sort of thinks, okay, when I'm stressed, I need to do this, I need to do that. And so then with that dependence, we have all these physical effects. We have the liver damage, the heart damage, the lung damage. We have persons who have lost their jobs because their focus now shifts from doing work to just getting that drug. We have persons who have financial troubles because all their money goes towards that substance. And so we want persons to understand that, yes, for a short period of time, that stress kind of, I don't want to say goes away, but it goes away temporarily. But then you have all those other, I like to say, side effects that comes with the use, the damage to your health, the damage to your social life, the damage to your brain, those persons who may be using marijuana and so forth. And so I want them to be very mindful that outside of this temporary relief, there are other major biopsychosocial effects.
Thanks so much for that education. And of course, Drug Awareness Week is just that, and a week of education and a power-packed week also. So can you walk us through some of the activities that we can expect this week?
So we're kind of coming down to the end of it. So what we did this week, for the first 2 days, that's when we went to our schools and we do what we call early intervention. So you would have had sessions with those Standard 4 students at Pembroke, Goodwood, Bethesda and Plymouth. Those are the primary schools. And so we went in there and taught them the dangers of alcohol use, tobacco use, and also marijuana use as well. And then today we're having our media day where we come on the media and we sort of educate the public on what is happening in regards to substance use. And then tomorrow tomorrow is kind of our flagship event, which is our drug awareness expo down at the mall, where we have different persons coming in talking about stress, how it affects you, give you healthy coping skills to deal with your stress, and also giving you healthy alternatives to manage your stress. So we have persons from TADCO coming in to teach you about agro-processing. We have persons from the Home Gardening Initiative coming to teach you about gardening. We have massage therapists who would be on site. We have persons who are coming with traditional games as well. So we want to encourage the public to come out tomorrow at the Lowlands Mall, and let's really have an interactive day talking about how to manage your stress in a healthy way, and also what are some of the effects of substance use.
All right, so what I want to know is, all right, so the person already drinking, right? You're already drinking, you're taking your smokes, you're going through it, right? I want to know, how can ADAPT help this person? How can we get access to this kind of help that ADAPT would provide? Because we talk about preventing it, but what if you're already there?
Yes.
Oh.
So ADAPT does offer, as I said, outpatient treatment services, which is you come in once a week or twice a week and you have counseling. So if you do need to access counseling for your substance use, you can call us at 487-6665. That's 487-6665, and we can schedule an appointment. And it doesn't have to be that you are going through it. You may know somebody who is going through it and you just want to get some tips to help that person. You can also contact us as well. And for those persons who may be struggling with stress and not being able to manage well, we do have a therapeutic counseling unit under the Division of Community Development and Social Protection, and you can call their counseling support line at 683-8341. That's 683-8341. So the help is there, and you just have to reach out to us and we can offer our assistance.
So there might be persons listening this morning, whether parents, young people, or even people who may be abusing substances, and they may feel ashamed or intimidated. What advice would you give to them today?
I remember when I just started working at ADAPT, before I was working at ADAPT, I could not understand why persons would use substances. I was like, this just don't make sense. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to hear the stories and their circumstances, it was like, if I was in that position, I may have been using as well.
Yes.
So I want persons to understand that we understand that you may be going through something,
yes,
and it's not something to be ashamed of. I would often say there was a time when Daddy was sick that I was self-medicating with alcohol. I would need to get one bottle of Smirnoff every day just to calm myself to go home and deal with him because he was sick. So it's not something that is foreign. It's something that is happening, and we want you to know that help is available. And I want to encourage persons to not feel ashamed to reach out. We are here to support you. It's very confidential. We are here to support you and offer you that assistance as well.
You know, this is a real issue that we're dealing with, and we want to thank you so much for coming on this morning and really pushing and carrying through this initiative since 2016, right? They have been doing this at ADAPT, and we want to say thank you. Yes. Please share the numbers again that persons would be able to get in contact with the unit, and we want to tell persons to go out and get that information at Lowlands Mall tomorrow. But before, just share the information again, Sherman, with the public regarding where they can go to get the help.
All right. So if you guys need to get help at the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention Program, you can contact us at 487-6665. That's 487-6665. And those persons who need counseling for any other mental health challenges, you can contact the Counseling Support Hotline at 683-8341. That's 683-8341.
All right, so thank you very much again, Miss Sherman Joy Charles, for being here this morning and educating us on Drug Awareness Week. So, ladies and gentlemen, listeners, do not touch that dial. Do not change your TV, because we'll be right back. And as we usually say, Tanisha, share the live, share the live, share the live.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. It's who we are and the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. We're deepening our commitment to the region, continuing to invest in the networks, services, and digital solutions that move Caribbean businesses forward. Whether you are a mid-sized business or multinational player, we bring you resilient connectivity, personalized service, and tailored IT solutions, all powered by local teams that truly have your back. We're here to help you navigate challenges, grow, and achieve your goals with practical solutions, reliable networks, and a partnership rooted in trust and your long-term success. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So, even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Tobago, the sun is rising, and so are the conversations that matter, from the economy to education, from healthcare to community voices. No spin, no fluff, just facts, truth, and clarity. Join me, Lavian, as we cover the issues that shape our lives, the stories we can't ignore. We bring them to the table and ask the questions you want answered.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
This is so we are at 7:45 a.m. Wednesday, and we're approaching the 8 a.m. mark. We're seeing a steady build-up of traffic heading east, coming from the Signal Hill traffic light, and we are currently at the Orange Hill traffic light. So those who are heading to your various places of work, business or school, we are just kindly encouraging you to get out quickly and observe the speed limit, which is at 80 kilometers an hour, 80 kilometers per hour. Please take your time on the road, and this is your traffic report courtesy Tobago Updates. So guys, we are at this juncture where all good things must come to an end, but we are not at the end as yet. We are here to foster discussion based on what occurred here this morning between two our hosts and our guests. And with me is Miss Jesha and Miss Tanisha, smack center in the middle of two beautiful ladies again.
Oh, thank you. That seems like flattery, Dwayne. Thank you so much.
I mean it with every inch of my heart.
That's good, that's good. But this is a season, right? And this is the carnival season.
Which season we talking about? Because we have seasons.
Correct. We have Valentine's Day, we have Carnival, we have so many things.
There's no Valentine and no season, stop it.
You might be surprised, People celebrate Valentine's from the 1st of February to the entire month.
Jesha, Dwayne, stop it. But this is a season for Carnival. This is the season that we're in, right? They said after Christmas in Trinidad and Tobago, it's Carnival, is what it have, right? And a lot have been going on in this space with regards to the persons are getting ready to hit the street, the masqueraders and things like that. And you know that the conversation is an interesting one where they're talking about goodie bags. Yeah, goodie bags. And
you no longer get one of those?
I don't know if you want this one, but specifically the tribe goodie bags, yes, and the conversation is buzzing on social media and even
in the churches.
Even it has gotten into the churches, where we had the Archbishop of Port of Spain weighing in, and he said that with the addition to the female masqueraders bags, the tribe masqueraders bags, they would have gotten an extra goodie this year, and it is one of the intimate types. And so I want to know, he would have stated that tribe gone too far.
Is that so?
Tribe gone too far.
So are they talking about the purple thing that the rose?
It's a rose, but not a flower, Not the one that you plant in your garden, right?
I don't plant at all.
Oh, you don't plant? Well, I farm.
You farm?
Yeah, I farm. But it's not that type. It's not that type. They're talking about the intimate things. And this is Youth Wednesday on Tobago Updates, and we confront all the issues.
Definitely.
And you would have twofold where persons will look at it in terms of is this really going too far from a moral standpoint? Yeah, and so what do you guys think? Did they go too far, or is it part of the culture? We're living in a free space, people liberal. Has the society turned into that of a liberal society where it is, these things are welcome now? Long ago, probably 10 years ago, persons might have been scoffing, but now people like...
I just want to say, my disclaimer is that yes, I'm a believer, but I'm also not... I'm a realist as well. If the Archbishop's view is that inserting a sex toy like a rose in the package for the ladies, for their masqueraders, is going too far, then my humble, respectful view would also be condemn the entire bag. If you're saying that you're the Archbishop and you're a believer and you believe in the word entirely condemns what's in the bag for the purpose of why they are in the bag in the first place. So I just find it a bit nitpicking, right, and unfair that you pick one, you choose to highlight one and negate the other. That's just my, and this is not the view of Tobago Updates. This is Dwayne William Junior Nurse's view. Right?
Very well.
But Jesha, what do you think about the rose? Right?
I've been
dying to hear your perspective.
Really?
Yeah, I've been dying to hear your perspective on the rose.
So a perspective that has been out there is that sometimes school children play mass, right? Even while I was in sixth form in Trinidad, persons in upper sixth and stuff were playing mass, so they are still considered school children. So I think a concern for persons is that again, school children play mass, and you're exposing school children. Yes, school children are exposed to a lot of things, but you're exposing school girls, 18, some 17, some 19, to a sex toy. So I think that's a concern for parents specifically.
But then we even, now we would open the topic to, we would broaden it a bit to say, but maybe they should be in kiddies carnival.
Yeah.
They should be in kiddies carnival.
Yeah.
And so we're really looking at a shift, guys, and it is real. We're really looking at a shift in terms of moral standards within the country, you know, and it force us to say, well, maybe we have gone past being a religious society to one that is very free, very liberal.
You mentioned the word liberal. I think we were liberal a long time. Carnival is a liberal event, right? Ordinarily, you don't see people in the streets in skimpy outfits showing, you know, the heavens and plenty earths and thing. It's a liberal event in the first place, right? And it's really primarily Monday, Tuesday. Well, obviously those events leading up to Carnival. So it's a liberal period, and some might argue, well, yeah, Ash Wednesday, Ado, use my rose and pour me skimpy outfit and went on the place and then go and get me ash on Wednesday, you know.
But Tanisha, I'm intrigued to hear your perspective.
I was really leading the discussion. Huh?
Yeah,
I mean, the viewers would have seen that I was.
But lead the perspective too now.
You know, to be quite honest, I think that one of the things that really stuck out to me, I wonder, the masqueraders asked for that. Do they was there a need? Are you meeting a need? So that's some of the things that came to my mind when I heard about the inclusion. And to me, I think that it could have been a choice. Right? I think that it could have been a choice. So in terms of if I find that they went a bit too far, I would say yes. I find that it was a bit too far. I think that persons could have been given the choice to say, all right, well, is this an option for the bag this year? Yes, I want that in my bag. But to put it across the bar and say, okay, well, all females are dropping it in your bag, whether you like it or not, I think that from that standpoint, I would agree with the Archbishop that they went a bit too far there.
Well, for me, I don't know. I never played Carnival in my life, and I would think that, you know, an experienced band like Tribe would have this package for the highest tier of their masqueraders. So I'm not certain, and more than that, if we're talking about if you're to answer the question that you asked, if this is a need, we have to just also look at the response, you know, by the masses, especially those who would have been in receipt of this, you know, this notable gift.
We might have to talk to some masqueraders post the carnival.
Yeah, we've seen some of the things online, and I have not. I mean, I am seeing a lot of the ladies welcoming the gesture. It's not even a gesture if I pay for it, but that's just my perspective.
Well,
we have come to the end of our discussions for today.
I'm happy to wrap up this discussion. She's wrapping it up right now.
No. I just had a really wonderful program with you all. I mean, I'm so sad that this has to come to an end.
But I want to ask the ladies though, before we go, right? If you guys were Carnival people and playing Carnival, would you have gone for the package? Because you're not just getting a rose alone, you're getting a carry-on suitcase too. As I saw.
I find Dwayne real know about the thing, Jisha.
Exactly.
But hypothetically, because I'm a Carnival baby, right? But hypothetically, as I say, I don't need it in my bag. So I would have kindly hand it back and say, well, I'm good. I don't need this one, right? But that is me. Yeah. So let's not prolong the discussion anymore. Feel free to weigh in. Yes. Whether I'm in the chat, you could feel free to weigh stay in. Yeah, Tobago Updates welcome your opinion, and we encourage you to share your opinion with us.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in to the Tobago Updates morning show. Again, we came to you live right here from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. I was joined by the lovely Dwayne and the Tanisha, and we had a wonderful program, not so?
Yes, we did. We definitely did.
Yeah, so we wish you a great day, and as I usually say, life is short, so smile while you still have teeth. Share the live, share the live, share the live.
My brother Rollins, Christopher Alexander Boy's birthday, his 60th birthday is significant to us because one, he was not supposed to be alive at this time. When he was 10 years, he was knocked down by a car. He was diagnosed with low functional Down syndrome, and the doctor says he would live till about 30. But we thank God that he has blessed him with 30 extra years. Rollins' life's journey has not been an easy one. He endured misunderstanding, exclusion, and hardship in a very time where special needs children were not recognized. Yet, through it all, Rollins persevered. Despite these challenges, he grew into a gentle, joyful, music-loving, community-embraced soul. From playing the scratcher with the Mellow Harp Steel Orchestra, to faithfully attending church, to dancing freely at every celebration, Rollins has taught us the true meaning of resilience, joy, and unconditional love.
The first day that I came, I was searching actually, am I in the right place? And I wondered, whether Boy heard my plea. He came to me. It was the first time that I was meeting him. And he said, "You all right?" In truth and in fact, I was a bit shaky. I said, "Yes." But that question, I think, it placed me in a zone of comfort. When he hugged me and he said again, "You're sure?" And this, they have a way they would put their hands here to see if you have a temperature. Sorry. He did that. And I think that confirmed my comfort. I said, "Yes, here is my place."
This is a big milestone for him because, as you know, as he is here, and today this is a big experience because usually they don't live this long. As we've heard, it takes a lot of hard work, and for him to be able to still be alive and still, this is a lot of work, a lot of love from the school. We've been around him, rallying around him and teaching him, and we want him to live for as long as he can.
We want to create an environment where persons with disabilities can live independently, participate fully in society, and access high quality inclusive care in Tobago. Mr. Rollins is a clear example of what long-term care, love, and support from family, community, and state look like. All right, Mr. Alexander King Boy, happy 60th birthday. Wishing you the very best. God bless and cheers.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
My brother Rollins, Christopher Alexander Boy's birthday, his 60th birthday is significant to us because one, he was not supposed to be alive at this time. When he was 10 years, he was knocked down by a car. He was diagnosed with low functional Down syndrome, and the doctor said he would live till about 30. But we thank God that he has blessed him with 30 extra years. Rollins' life's journey has not been an easy one. He endured misunderstanding, exclusion, and hardship in a very time where special needs children were not recognized. Yet, through it all, Rollins persevered. Despite these challenges, he grew into a gentle, joyful, music-loving, community-embraced soul. From playing the scratcher with the Mellow Harp Steel Orchestra, to faithfully attending church, to dancing freely at every celebration, Rollins has taught us the true meaning of resilience, joy, and unconditional love.
The first day that I came, I was searching actually, am I in the right place? And I wondered, whether Boy heard my plea. He came to me. It was the first time that I was meeting him. And he said, "You all right?" In truth and in fact, I was a bit shaky. I said yes. But that question, I think, it placed me in a zone of comfort. When he hugged me and he said again, "You're sure?" And this, they have a way they would put their hands here to see if you have a temperature. Sorry. He did that. And I think that confirmed my comfort. I said, yes, here is my place.
This is a big milestone for him because, as you know, as he is here, and today this is a big experience because usually they don't live this long. As we've heard, it takes a lot of hard work, and for him to be able to still be alive and still, this is a lot of work, a lot of love from the school. We've been around him, rallying around him and teaching him, and we want him to live for as long as he can.
We want to create an environment where persons with disabilities can live independently, participate fully in society, and access high quality inclusive care in Tobago. Mr. Rollins is a clear example of what long-term care, love, and support from family, community, and state look like. All right, Mr. Alexander King Boy, happy 60th birthday. Wishing you the very best. God bless and cheers.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host Chanel Felix,
And guys, you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Tobago Division, in collaboration with the Agency for the Prevention of Drug Abuse and the Promotion of Rehabilitation, ADAP, recently visited Pembroke Anglican Primary School and Goodwood Methodist Primary School as part of the Drug Awareness Week. The initiative, spearheaded by ACP Pierre and Senior Superintendent Kirk, and supervised by ASP Bacchus, Inspector Sterling, and Sergeant Jonas, featured interactive discussions with students on carnival safety, drug use and abuse, and the importance of making healthy life choices. Officers reassured students that the police are their friends and are always ready to keep them safe. Students were also advised to call 211 or 999 if they are ever left at home alone and feel afraid. ADAP representatives further engaged students on the dangers of alcohol, tobacco, and vaping while promoting healthy lifestyles and positive decision-making. The collaboration reinforces ongoing efforts to create safer schools, informed youth, and stronger communication across Tobago. Additionally, also advocating against drug use and abuse is the Division of Community Development and Social Protection, who is hosting a drug awareness expo to encourage responsible choices and healthy stress management on Thursday, February 12, 2026 from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Lowlands Mall, under the theme Substance Use and Stress, Finding Healthy Ways to Cope. The expo will feature preventative and treatment-based resources, stress management support, and health screening by the Tobago Regional Health Authority. The information on legal consequences of substance misuse from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will be given to the public. Counseling and rehabilitation support from Changing Lanes, along with traditional games and speech band competitions, will be held. And finally, Trinidad and Tobago has recorded no improvement on the 2025 Corruption Perception Index, maintaining a score of 41 out of 100, according to the Trinidad and Tobago Transparency Institute. The unchanged score places the country in a mid-range globally and slightly below the Americas regional average of 42. The Trinidad and Tobago Transparency Institute said the result highlights ongoing governance challenges and a persistent gap between stated policy commitments and the efforts enforced. The Institute pointed to continued weaknesses in public financial management, delays in implementing the Whistleblower Protection Act, and the lack of meaningful campaign finance reform as key concerns. The Trinidad and Tobago Transparency Institute warned that without decisive corrective action, public trust and credibility of state institutions could continue to decline. And that was our news in 90 seconds. Now, this morning we are having our conversation and we're jumping off a bit on some of the topics that you heard about in our news in 90 seconds. We are talking all about carnival and drug awareness and public safety. And this morning, to have that conversation with me, I have in studio the privilege of chatting with Senior Superintendent Rodel Kirk. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Chanel. Good morning to Tobago. Good morning to Trinidad and Tobago.
Excellent. It's a pleasure to have you here this morning. And clearly from my news in 90 seconds, we see that you guys have been doing extensive work within the schools. And on Thursday, you will be partnering with the Division of Community Development to expand that community reach with that awareness campaign that is happening. Tell us a bit about the outreach at the time and what is the objective of the work that is being done.
Right. First of all, I must say that one of our strategic pillars includes community engagement. And those initiatives are aimed at targeting specific parts of the community. And we saw it fit to treat with our most vulnerable, which is persons of school age. And we have identified that some of the schools have children that we consider to be at risk or most vulnerable. So what we intend to do is to reach out to these youths in order to bring some sort of measure or, try to not reinvent the wheel, but try to let them know of the guardrails that should be implemented in terms of monitoring their behavior and in terms of advising them about the need to be good citizens. So most of the initiatives are directed towards that, so that, we can have a better society going forward within the island of Tobago.
Right. And I remember during my time at the primary and secondary level, there was the DARE program. I'm not sure if that still exists, but there were drug expeditions that took place within the school where they would show you examples of narcotics and other explicit drugs so that young persons can actually identify drugs. Do you guys still do that particular type of work, or has another approach been taken?
Well, I'm not saying it. We continue to do such programs. I know from time to time they will have the caravan go out and have those little exhibits so that persons could see exactly what are the different types of drugs and narcotics that are out there. You realize that the persons who deal in these substances are now becoming more creative. You have where they would implement these things in gummies, in what you call the brownies, and all these kind of different things. So things have evolved over the years. So again, as time goes on, we have changes in these kinds of things, and the police continue to have people aware of what is out there. So that is something that will be ongoing, notwithstanding that you haven't seen it as often as we would like, but it's something that we have on the cards so that children or school-age children and even citizens could be aware of the dangers and the types of narcotics and so on that are out in the public space.
Right. And now that we are in a heavily technologically driven society and students and youth have greater access to technology and information, do you feel that another approach has to be taken to meet them where they are? Because the children of today are not the children of yesteryear. They are equipped with a lot more information. They are smarter, they are tech savvy, and some persons would say they are even ahead of the curve. So how does one tailor the messaging to appeal to this particular demographic?
Well, again, the police have been moving with the technology as well. So we have engaged our messages on all the social media platforms, right? That is something that, as you say, with the change in technology. So we are also on board with that. However, I tend to disagree sometimes that even the information is out there. Unless you point them in a particular direction. Sometimes they will see that information and bypass it. Because when you think about it, with all the look at simple this. With all the ads, all the messages we put out about drinking and driving, we still have it done. Not so? We'll show, last week or earlier in the week, there was, last week I would say, there was a display in the middle of Scarborough by our officers where they put up a crashed vehicle and even put the display of a body on the ground showing the dangers, what could happen with drinking and driving in terms of the fatalities which may occur. And would you believe, even driving towards this direction this morning, the kind of driving I saw on the highway, I would wonder, how, people don't get themselves aware as to what is happening. So we have to push harder. And again, we use all the platforms in trying to get that message out. We use all the internal and external agencies to provide that level of assistance, and yet still, you'll have a few that doesn't adhere to it.
Understood. And, you know, just touching a bit on Carnival, because this is the Carnival season, and although Tobago's mainstay is during the October Carnival, there are still a number of activities that are happening during the National Carnival that include the Juve activities in Roxborough and Crown Point and Cutler Hall. You have the Mud Mass that's happening and the Kids Mass. So what are some of the contingencies being put in place by the TTPS to ensure that all of these events are adequately safeguarded?
Right. Our main aim throughout the Carnival is to ensure that persons who are participating are safe, including persons who are not participating but are there looking on, also visitors that are coming to the island. So we have already put things in place in terms of our resources to direct them at those activities which are carried. And that's why we have been planning that since before. You know, we have been working along with the Festival Commission. They have provided a list of the activities. We know that the next activity coming up is the Kiddies Mass, that is on Saturday, followed by the Windward Afro Queen and Calypso competition. After that, we know we have the Juve celebrations in Roxborough and Crown Point. Now, there are persons who may be willing to pass through Scarborough during the Carnival. As you know, when Carnival is declared, it's for the entire country. So therefore, we can already prevent people from, you know, coming out. But in the event, we also have a contingency plan in place to treat with that. Right?
Understood. And, you know, what are some of the key safety advice that you're putting out there for parents, members of the community, and even persons who are coming out to participate in the event?
Well, something I want to advise persons that do not leave home with a weapon. That is one thing. Police are going to be out there engaging members of the public in terms of our anti-crime exercises. And if you are found wanting, I want to make it clear that under the Offences Against the Persons Act, also under the Offensive Weapons Act, 1109 Section 31A, makes it an offense to be in any public place armed with any weapon that it deems to be offensive. And if you are found wanting, you will be prosecuted. We also ask parents that when you are leaving home, leave a responsible adult with your underage children, so that you won't be found wanting for child abandonment, etc. Go and have fun on you. One day of fun and end up with a whole year of misery. We don't want that. So we want to advise, we want to be proactive in advising you to do that. We also want you to be careful in terms of when you are consuming alcoholic beverages, to make sure that you are self-aware. Because these are times where you have all this kind of, people might spike your drink, etc., and you end up waking up not knowing yourself, etc. Also, we advise against the alcohol abuse. Drink in moderation. And one other thing that I want to put in the mix is that be aware that we now have enforced, we will have enforced the legal notice which deals with the prohibition of glass bottles at Carnival events, which comes into force on the morning of Juve. So,
meaning that
you are prohibited from having, if you are not an authorized person, you are prohibited from having any glass bottles within these Carnival events. And it doesn't only refer to alcohol. So if you have a Apple J, a PAG, etc. in these bottles, all glass bottles.
Supposed to give all drinks in plastic.
Right, in cups.
And persons leaving their homes must leave with their
Once you're getting into the Carnival event or the space of that is declared, you need to not have any glass receptacle in your possession.
Right, because this can be confiscated.
It can be confiscated. It will be confiscated, and and you could be prosecuted as well. So just wanted to put that out in the space, that to remind some people believe that is only applied to alcohol, but it's not alcohol alone, soft drinks as well. And something I want to re-emphasize, our duty out there is to make the public feel safe and to ensure that when Carnival is over, that we have no fatalities, no serious injuries, and all of that. So this is why we are putting all these advice in the public space. But what I recognize from being in Tobago a couple of years ago, there's an issue that we are asking the the bar owners to cooperate with us, because we realize Carnival ends at midnight. And when Carnival ends, what we find happening is that the persons who are now business persons who own bars will turn up their music, and now the crowd will navigate to those areas. So when we try to disperse the crowds, we have now those persons opening up the music in the bar and causing people to gather and so on and so on. We are asking them to cooperate this year. We are going to treat with these matters seriously, but we are asking, before we come to that, have to have any confrontation with any bar owners within the Scarborough area especially.
Right.
We are putting it out in that space, cooperate with the police, let us get the crowds away after Carnival ends.
Okay, that's an interesting point that you brought there, because persons would advocate that based on the bar license that they have, they are allowed to carry their bar until, let's say, for instance, 3 a.m. in the morning. So how does one find that middle ground between saying, okay, Carnival is over, it's 12 midnight, everything is done, but these persons still have their bar license that can function and go up until
right. They have their bar license, yeah. They have their bar license. But look at the bigger picture. If you have music that is encouraging persons to gather and create obstructions in the street, etc., etc., the police are empowered to take whatever action in order to abate that.
Right.
So that in itself, when you weigh the pros and the cons, you understand? That is what we are about. We are not saying that you can't carry on your business, but we are saying that you must be discreet. At least let the police do what they have to do and clear the majority of the crowd. Because if you turn on the music while we turning off, with the hype that is already in play,
right,
you will actually encourage people to come by your area. We know you're a businessman, but what will it take you just a few hours? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that is why I'm reaching out.
But this, for a business person, this is the high traffic periods where they would get most
But the high traffic period is between the whole Carnival celebration. I don't see you're losing anything within there.
Right.
So I'm saying again, Carnival is
Unless
ending
it's
on
an
yes,
enclosed environment.
of course, right? Okay. So if it's affecting traffic and all of that on the street, we are going to take some sort of action.
Understood. That is understood. And you touch a bit on public safety. You spoke a bit about drinking and driving, persons driving with their licenses, valid forms of insurance, and all the requisite documents. Could we see an increased police presence around this Carnival season?
Of course, you would see. And something again I want to touch on. There are some persons who try to beat the system, especially. We know that, especially in the areas that are declared as routes for the parade bands, etc., we know that Carnival starts at 4 a.m. Monday morning. What some persons do is come into the zone Sunday night and park.
Right.
And Juve is taking place, and they're difficult. We see a car in the road and there's difficulty to find that person in order to move them, etc. It's not only pose a danger to the persons who are walking the road for Carnival, it also poses there's a threat to your vehicle as well, because the people passing could cause damage to your vehicle and you at your own risk. What we propose to do this year is that we're going to have the wrecker. If 4 a.m. and none of those vehicles are moved from the roadway, we, the police, will have them removed at a cost for you. So unless you want that, please refrain from parking your vehicle within the Carnival zones or parking illegally during that period of time, because we are going to deal with that. All right? As I say, we want to ensure that everybody is safe and protected. So we are going to have police both covertly and overtly moving along with the revelers in order to ensure that level of safety and to ensure at minimal that any unforeseen or any unwanted incident should occur.
Understood. Well, we're going to take a quick break here and we'll be back with much more conversation on public safety, specifically during this Carnival season, with Senior Superintendent Rudel Cook. See you soon.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawn.
to wave, I want to wine, I want to party with you. Party with you. I want to look it right, yeah. I want to wave, I want to wine, I want to party with you. Party with you. Party with you. When the rhythm pumping up, it's everybody jumping up. We sweating, and when the sun is blazing.
Coming up, fetes, pan, parades, soca. Yes, Carnival is in full swing. Artists from all over added their strokes to Antigua and Barbuda's canvas. A boost for these Barbadian projects through the power to make a difference. Equal servings of culture and good cheer. It's Caribbean Passport TV right here on this station.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at an overhead shot of the Rockleydale traffic light on the Claude Noel Highway. And as you see, there is a free flow of traffic that's happening there. Usually sometimes there's a bit of a pileup that's heading west from this particular traffic light. But this morning, from what I can see, it seems like a relatively smooth flow of traffic. Specifically coming out of that north side road where there's usually a bit of a traffic jam there on that road that goes to the Harmons SDA school. But the usual suspect is usually that Wilson Road traffic light where there's usually a bit of a pileup going east that usually starts from the Bishop's High School area there all the way up to the traffic light. And we're seeing a bit of a pileup that's happening there, both east and west. But we know usually if you're heading west at this time, you don't have as much problems as if you're heading east. And so we are looking at an overhead shot there of this downtown Scarborough area. But specifically, we get to see some overhead of that Claude Noel Highway and the Wilson Road traffic light. So if you are traversing the highways this morning, heading into Scarborough or heading to Crown Point, you have a little view of what's happening there. And as I indicated earlier, you see a bit of a pile-up from the Darrell Spring walkover going towards the Wilson Road traffic light, and also from the Wilson Road traffic light to the Bishop's walkover. But that's usually common during this time of the morning. There's also a bit of a traffic pileup that happens from that Glen Road extension road there, the main road, that Plymouth Road. So usually you see a little bit of a pileup there as well, coming out, sometimes going towards the western area or into Scarborough. But if you're heading into Scarborough and you are still trying to get to work for 9 a.m., you might be able to get there on time, or you might not. It all depends what direction you're heading in, west or east. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue our conversation this morning with Senior Superintendent Rodil Kirk. Good morning and welcome back.
Yes, thank you again. One of the things that I wanted to make mention of is that persons who have to use these spaces that the Carnival events are taking place during Carnival, especially around Scarborough, they need to visit the office of the Senior Superintendent in order to be issued the relevant pass, etc., for vehicular pass for them to access these areas.
Right.
And I also want to reach out. I know Tobago is a area that used mainly by the campers coming from Trinidad, and even the church groups and so on going out to different areas to camp I advise that they notify the police. So in the event that we can actually visit and actually provide that level of safety to them as well. So I'm putting it out there. So let us know where you are so that we can respond in the event of any emergency.
Right. And so some persons may think that if they have to have that police present, that they may have to pay a small fee, and oftentimes try to avoid having to pay the police for extra duties. So is it that if the police comes and spends some time on these campsites that it would be free of charge?
It will be free of charge. There's nothing to do with extra duty in situations like these. As I indicate, we also have a responsibility to engage with our public. And you know, things like that doesn't fall under that regime in terms of extra duty. So that we are to serve, protect and serve the public. And we know that this is a national carnival event and there are persons who would not be willing to be in the actual carnival space. So we are also to provide that level of security to the entire island and not only those that are participating in carnival.
Understood. Now, marijuana, as we know, has been decriminalized in Trinidad and Tobago. But you see a situation now where persons are becoming more blatant with public consumption, which goes against the law. Because the law talks about, no consumption of this in public spaces. But yet you go to the events, you go to carnival, and you see persons blatantly, smoking marijuana as though it's tobacco. How are we to treat with this?
This matter has been in the public space, being debated over and over and over. But I want to let you know that yes, the law is clear in respect to how you treat with these issues. However, the law places the marijuana legislation categorizes with how it should be enforced. Now, if you are in possession of 30 grams or less, that is what was decriminalized. Also, if you are within your home as an adult and you have 4 trees, that has been decriminalized. However, what we have is that fixed penalty notices were created for certain categories of the being in possession. And if those are what you will normally see within the public space. Now, with the law, if the mechanisms are not in place to enforce that category, there is nothing actually that you can do in respect of that. As long as you don't have the fixed penalty notices in order to issue to persons, your hands are basically tied in respect to that. But if you are persons found trafficking, like there's evidence to show that you are selling, you are distributing, etc., etc., those are enforceable. And a lot of the persons are not aware that that could take place. Right? From the time you are caught trafficking, you're selling, you're collecting money, you're doing this, you're distributing to persons, that is an offense. You could be arrested on spot.
Understood.
However, the categories that are non-arrestable and are supposed to be dealt with by fixed penalty notice, because of the lack of the fixed penalty notice, you can't really take a level of action as you're supposed to.
For persons who want to personally consume in public spaces.
Such as that.
Understood. Well, we want to thank you so much for bringing clarity to us this morning on what is allowed and what isn't allowed for carnival, so that persons don't get caught off guard or get caught saying, I did not know. One of the things that you stressed on particularly is for persons who operate businesses and live within the carnival zones to get those permits, so that they don't come to the police and say, well, I live there, or my business is there, look, my shop down the road there, I work here. But they have the requisite permits. So are you advising business owners to apply for the permits on behalf of their staff as well, who need
that could be the once you have a vehicle that is you intend to use during that period to and from, come to the police so that we could issue the relevant pass.
Okay, what about those persons within the Crown Point area that have commercial properties and rentals, guest houses, Airbnbs, where persons living, like let's just say for example, there's the Views right smack in the middle of Crown Point, they're opposite the Jimmy's, and those enterprises next to
what will happen in a situation like this? We know in respect of the Crown Point issue, Carnival is only, Juve would only be limited to particular hours. So by 10 o'clock, 10 a.m.,
no in and out traffic.
The road is clear, no restrictions. Right, so that makes it a much easier and manageable to handle, because that is the only time throughout the Carnival period that Crown Point will be restricted. 4 a.m. to about 10 a.m. on Monday morning.
Right.
Right, so persons accessing, there are alternate routes to get to certain points, and in certain circumstances, the police will allow you to get to, it depends. Right? So it's just about, at the time you reach to the police officer who is on site, and they will use their discretion in terms of treating with you if you are not, if you need to access someplace close before the contingent or the parade comes through that area.
Understood.
Right?
Right. Well, we want to thank you again for being here, and we are wishing you and your colleagues a safe carnival season. And again, we want to also encourage the campers to reach out to the TTPS, inform them about where your camp would be so that they can have those patrols in that particular area, just to ensure that you and the persons that you're responsible for are safe. Ladies and gentlemen, we take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more conversations after this. See you soon.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So, even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.
Hey, it's you. Come in. Long time I see you. This station complete. Ready for children party. Mommy! Jay, you can't go nowhere with these children. And you know you can't depend on Kevin neither Steven to see about them. Yeah, total waste. So I supposed to stay home whole time? Jada is 12. She could see about that. You just leave Jada to see about Kira and Kayla? I thought it was your mother or your sister. Who? Them always busy. Jada could handle that. She cooking and cleaning a long time. And the next two, better know what time it is. It's only me, you know. I will talk to my mother. She just home these days. She will make sure the children okay. Alright. Let me see the moves for later.
Before you ramage, make sure the children okay. Call 996 to report all child abuse now. A message from the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago.
Back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host Chanel Felix, and ladies and gentlemen, we jump straight ahead into our discussions again this morning, and we have joining us virtually Mrs. Sherry-Ann Joseph Hislop, who is an author, and this morning we're talking about her book launch, Beyond the Bell. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. It's a pleasure to have you. So tell us a bit about your latest book and the book launch that's happening.
Beyond the Bell speaks to strategies that parents and educators can use to raise students with neurodiverse needs. Here in Brooklyn, New York, I serve as the Director of Special Education for Brooklyn and North, and I realize that we have a lot of students here with special education needs, and the parents don't always know how to support them at home, and there's a cry for help. So I created this book so that parents and educators can have the strategies that they need to educate them.
Understood. And, can you touch a bit on some of the key touch points of this particular book that persons can look forward to? Does it include or touch on dealing with special needs children or children with attention deficiencies or, assisting students who need remedial type educational study? Who exactly is targeted? Give us a little bit of insight.
Well, the book is actually a guidebook, or like what we would call a workbook. It's not heavy on research, it's heavy on the strategies that you can use. So it allows parents to read the strategies and then answer questions on their particular child. So it's very personalized. It talks about how to build a confidence of a child who is neurodiverse because they don't always feel accepted and included where they are. It talks about how to support them in school, things that you can do at home to help them. It talks about how to plan for their future, how to transition them into a world where they may no longer have their parents. It talks about how to help them to build meaningful relationships. So it looks into all aspects of their lives. It provides the strategies, and then there are reflection questions where parents can answer based on their particular child and move forward using the strategies and what they have written about their child.
Right, excellent. And we know that when it comes to neurodivergent children, they operate on a spectrum. So, two children that are neurodivergent are not, may not be on the same level in terms of their ability to function in a particular way. So does the book talk about specific ways to understand where your child is at and how to treat with them based on their particular place that they are on that spectrum?
Yes. So it gives the strategies that you can use to do various things with your child. But then the question and answer section for after each chapter allows you to focus specifically on your child and then tie the strategies that you can use for your particular child. I did not just want to present something that was heavy on research. I wanted something very practical where parents can find it as an easy read. They can sit with their child together. They can read the book. They can understand the tips for the families, and then they can practice using the strategies and document how those strategies are working with their child.
Okay. Are you currently in Tobago, and where would this book launch be?
I am presently in the United States of America, in New York, but the book is available on Amazon.com and Barnes and Nobles. But if folks would like to get a copy of the book locally, they can always reach out to me on social media. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all those platforms, and we can make arrangements to get the book to you.
All right. And what are some of your handles or contact information that persons can use?
Sherry-Ann Joseph Hislop, my full name. It's there on all social media handles.
All right, and that's Sherry Ann Joseph Hislop. Now, talk to us a bit about some of your partners and persons that you collaborate with in order to get the information out there. Because, you know, from where I sit, I have a key understanding that there are organizations and networks locally that try to bridge the gap for special needs children, children with autism, you know, or different learning abilities or disabilities. So who are some of your partners? I know that there's the Down Syndrome Family Network that has their conference that happens in March on the 25th here in Tobago, where they don't just deal with parents who have kids with Down syndrome, but other, you know, that suffer from neuro or have neurodivergent kids or other learning disabilities like dyslexia and other things that affect children's ability to learn in the traditional sense. So how or who are some of your partners that you are working with?
I'm glad that you asked that because I have not started working with anyone locally yet in Trinidad and Tobago. I would love to, and opportunities like these are where I get to share my expertise. And if someone would love for me to partner with their organization, I'll be more than happy to. I do partner with a lot of organizations here throughout the United States, but I have not started the work locally as yet. I would love to give back because I know that there is a great need for this type of work in Trinidad and Tobago. So I guess this is a plug for any organization that would love to partner with me on the work I'm doing here in the United States to reach out. And definitely I'd love to collaborate, but I don't have any specific organizations right now that I'm working with in Trinidad and Tobago.
All right. And I'm guessing that, you know, even from your end, you can also send out your proposals to a number of these organizations, even the Tobago House of Assembly and the Division of Education, Skills and Innovation, as we know that there is a deficit as it pertains to teachers that are specialized in inclusive or special education to deal with kids that have particular learning disabilities, whether it be children that are on the spectrum or have mild to severe learning disabilities. So, you know, just having those, because these teachers are not necessarily equipped or trained particularly in these areas, you know, putting forward possible training sessions and workshops that could also be virtual can help to provide them with some much needed tools to deal with these students in the short term, because we know that working with these students come with extensive training. But even if they can be given just some tools that can help them possibly help these children to regulate their emotions or their feelings, or to get them to settle down for 5 minutes to do a task, because we know a lot of the time their attention span tends to be very short unless you give them something that they are deeply engaged with, that help to deal with different sensory, you know, things that they like, you know, whether it's using touch as a tool for learning or sound as a tool for learning. So talk to us a bit about that, and you know, not just sending proposals to provide that training, but how the book touches on these things as well.
Well, the book touches on the strategies that can be used by educators and families for specific children with neurodiverse needs. But in terms of the training that has to be done and the practical aspect of it, that's like a different topic. I do a lot of trainings here in America for teachers and schools and stuff, and we focus a lot on what should happen in the classroom, because neurodiverse children can be successful. And I want to demystify the concept that these kids are disabled or retarded or any of those forbidden words. These students can be successful with the right strategies in place. How you build out the classroom, the accommodations you make for them. Here in America, they have a lot of rights, and we would literally be sued if we did not provide for them everything that they needed to be successful. So it's a part of the work to ensure that schools have all the facilities they need, that teachers have the training they need, and that as a Department of Education, that we ensure that they have their needs met. They have a lot of rights. So, for example, some students belong in a classroom with two teachers. They cannot sit in a single classroom, and the two teachers must be a licensed special education teacher and a general education teacher. Then there are some students that belong in a classroom with only 12 students and a support staff. Some students belong with only 8 students. And then we have the accommodations that they get. Sometimes they take an exam, they have to be given extra time, they have to be given a separate location, they have to be given someone to read the exam for them. Sometimes they have to be given assistive technology to help them access the work being done. So there are lots of accommodations and things that we do. Then we train teachers on the methods. How do you teach these children who cannot sit for 5 minutes, like you said? You seem to be quite aware of some of the things that we go through. And teachers know how to use different modalities and different types of teaching methods to meet their needs. And we have had quite a number of success stories from students with disabilities who graduated with degrees and assimilated successfully into the world. So it is possible, and it's happening every day.
Understood. And what message would you like to send to the policyholders in Tobago as it pertains to the work that you have been exposed to, some of the facilities, the provisions for these particular students, and you know, some of your recommendations or your willingness and ability to assist with that thrust towards having an effective, inclusive education system here on the island?
First thing I would like to say is that it is all possible, and it's happening every day. And I think Trinidad and Tobago would be fortunate because you have someone directly on the ground here in New York doing the work, getting the training, and who is willing to partner with you to turnkey the work. I'm fortunate to have been given the opportunity to lead this work in New York, and it is not only humbling, but it's very fulfilling because I get to see all that is happening across about 300 schools every day, and to work with principals and teachers, and also to support families with the needs for special education services. There's a cry from the families because after the teacher finishes 1 year or 2 years with that child, the family has that child for 20 and 30 years, and the families need support. So I want the families to know that there is hope, there is support out there, and you don't have to feel like because your child was born with neurodiverse needs that nothing can happen for this child. It hurts when I hear the pain of the parent who's saying, I need help, I need help. There is help available, and you're not alone, and you don't have to suffer in silence. You can reach out, you can get help. If the Tobago House of Assembly is willing, I'm more than happy to share my expertise with them. I am happy to talk with families who may need additional support. Like I said, just reach out on social media. Help is available. Once you find out what your child needs and you can provide it, the success story begins there. It's no longer, oh, well, I don't know. There's too much knowledge available now for people to say that they don't know. And an investment in a child is an investment for life. So it's out there. It can happen. Let's make it happen.
Excellent. And finally, before we wrap up our discussion this morning, remind persons where they can get the book Beyond the Bell.
Okay, Beyond the Bell is available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and all those major bookstores. But if you don't want to shop that way and you'd like to access the book another way, then please reach out to me on social media, and I can also try to get the book to you. I do have, like I said, lots of family in Trinidad and Tobago who would be more than happy to get the book to you. I just want more than anything else for folks to get the information that help is available And here are things that we can do to make our neurodiverse children successful. It's not just ignore them and put them in a corner. It's not that anymore. It's empower them, educate them, and let's see how far they can go.
Excellent. Well, again, we want to thank you so much for being here this morning, and we look forward to seeing much more of your work locally here on the island of Tobago, and possibly making those connections and having those partnerships with organizations like the Down Syndrome Family Network and the Division of Education. And I look forward to connecting with you even outside of this platform and hearing a lot more about the work that you have been doing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we call an end to our show this morning. We want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's discussions. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and have a wonderful day.
Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we're stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Yeah. Hey. Tobago Update.